As that world of spirituality has been so ingrained in us as being an othered state, a state that you wouldn't want to be identified within. You wouldn't want to be labeled as spiritual or somehow connected in a metaphysical arena with those who aren't grounded and realistic. And what I've noticed is, as I continue to step more into my knowing and trusting my intuition openly, because I've always trusted it, as many of us have, but we've been forced to withhold aspects of ourselves and reframe and reshape and perform with a mask so that we could survive within that matrix, that structure, that organization that demands you deny parts of yourself. It demands it. It doesn't. Hi, and welcome back. It's March 5th, 2026. We're on the other side of that lunar eclipse, and man, it's been a hard one. It has been tough. All of the physical symptoms and experiences that move through our bodies as we are transitioning and changing through energetic fields of awareness. And it's been tough. It's been tough. All of the symptoms of nausea, upset stomach, revisiting the past, having mild headaches to more challenging headaches, feeling complete exhaustion, then feeling surges of energy. It's as though you're on a roulette wheel that's just being spun around, and wherever it stops is the thing that you experience. And if you had no awareness that this is what happens during these different shifts in time and experiences with energy, you would definitely think there was something seriously wrong with you. But when you do recognize that this is an influence external to your internal reality, it's just being recalibrated, it makes it much easier to swallow and to move through, because you know there's an end to it. There's another side to it. So hold tight and trust that this is just another little blip in the process of becoming and stepping into your true integrated self. When I was growing up, being spiritual meant that you lacked intelligence, that you lacked wisdom, that you were gullible, you were flighty, you weren't dependable, you didn't have a plan for your life, or you were just so far reaching that there's no way that you could ever achieve anything that was tangible, that was physical or material. And that's very true. For the world that we were in, very challenging to be an artist and actually survive, to be anyone who was creative or daring or challenging any of the norms or societal beliefs that were framed within a patriarchal structure. one where if you are outside of these parameters, you actually won't be rewarded. You don't fit in, you don't belong, and you need to force yourself to, or you will remain othered, like we've talked about before. And so that has been a real challenge for me, I know, and for many others as well, to really accept the divinity, that soulful nature within ourselves, because that world of spirituality has been so ingrained in us as being an othered state, a state that you wouldn't want to be identified within. You wouldn't want to be labeled as spiritual or somehow connected in a metaphysical arena with those who aren't grounded and realistic. And what I've noticed is, as I continue to step more into my knowing and trusting my intuition openly, because I've always trusted it, as many of us have, but we've been forced to withhold aspects of ourselves and reframe and reshape and perform with a mask so that we could survive within that matrix, that structure, that organization that demands you deny parts of yourself. It demands it. It doesn't say, you know, it might be good. It's you either do this and be rewarded and live a full life that actually is how we deem success financially. You've checked all the boxes off. You've earned money. You've put it in our banks that make us money, not the people that are depositing it, to be used for other reasons that don't benefit you. And you're taxed on that money, and then you pay tax on that money. And while I understand that taxes to be used for the collective good of healthcare and infrastructure, roads, supporting those who are in need, all of these valuable socialist ideals, that's not actually where the majority of the money goes. And it's funding a whole other belief systems. And so when we awaken and we begin to identify and accept all parts of ourself, including that spiritual nature, the soul essence of who we are, rather than just the construct of our mind, our ego reality, the reality of a physical world based on memory and based on lived experiences and acquired information that we've processed through this filter. And we just are expected to live up here and not feel, not dig into, well, how and why would we do that? And who does that benefit? And asking the more questions and feeling those answers and those responses, and whether or not the two connect to make sense. And once you have that awakening that is often brought on by a trauma response, being pushed too far, being burned out, people say it's a midlife crisis or a psychotic break. The wording doesn't matter. It's the outcome from that and what you do with it. Whether or not you then look at all these parts of yourself that society and belief systems that are not concerned with your well-being or your highest good have caused you to dissociate from them, to shame them, to ignore them, abandon them, and to step into a role performing for someone else, for someone else's best interests. And when you stop doing that, and you really start to see and feel and connect with who you innately are, that's when you really understand what this life and universe has to offer, and all of the things that we have been missing. And isn't that a fantastic experience to have? To finally be able to see, to finally be able to rest within ourselves, knowing that there is nothing wrong with us, that we don't need to fix anything. It's the environment that is telling us there's something wrong, telling us that we need to fix something, to heal something, to change something about ourselves, rather than the environment needs to change. And the people who we are surrounded with needs to change if they don't align with who we soulfully are. And that's where the mother spirit comes in, that matriarchal warrior. It is used so many times in so many, across all cultures. The mother bear, the mother who is fiercely protective of her child, of her offspring, of those who are vulnerable, those who are in positions that are disadvantaged and marginalized, and to step in to be the protector. And so the idea that the masculine is meant to be the protector, and yet has been the predator of female energy, the predator of female goodness and caring and consideration, and minimizing the crucial role that the maternal pieces of us, the feminine, the divine feminine, the birthers of creation, not just people, but ideas of ways to integrate, to collaborate, to consider, and to include. And that doesn't mean that all women are this way or all men are that way. Gender is not the thing. It has been this face value, us versus them experience, because who does that serve? If we're not aligned together, trying to understand and work it through so that we can collaborate as a unit, as a team of divine and masculine, feminine, it's the coming together. It's the understanding that within each one of us is this whole being, divine, masculine and feminine, and that each one of us has that capacity to be that maternal protector, caregiver, to also be that masculine taking action and stepping into this, again, protective energy to ensure the ability for the other parts of ourselves to be creative, to be birthing of ideas. So the more that we recognize this and move away from that old system that says spirituality is something to be ashamed of, to judge, unless you put it in a religion, you put it in a form that continues to support the narrative that is being moved and pushed through in that patriarchal world, then it's acceptable. So this denial, this innate denial, it doesn't just harm women. It doesn't just harm the divine feminine. It's the dislocation of this centered way of being. It's as though it's been removed and placed somewhere else to be ignored. And that is where the complete dismantling of who you are, your identity, your core values and beliefs, everything will be challenged. Because you can't continue to exist if you're not integrated, especially in a new realm and world that demands it. The patriarchal system, capitalism, this individual power over world is dismantling. It cannot hang on. And so if you are not open to really looking at and accepting all parts of yourself, you will be forced to do it. And so step into that openness to just experience and to recognize and understand, but also to be discerning and to recognize when other energies coming at you or the ones that are already around you are not serving that highest good, that integration, the alchemizing of your own inner wisdom and knowing with that past experience, that filter being clogged. There's nothing stopping you now. Thanks for watching, everyone, for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, and most of all, for being here, for being open to having these conversations and to really challenging our perspectives, to allowing in new ideas and ways of thinking about our environment and the people we surround ourselves with, and recognizing that we hold power and wisdom that is beyond anything that ever has been spoken about to us. And once we step into that knowing and trusting and having faith that it all works out, is when we actually receive and achieve our true meaning and purpose. So until next time, stay safe, stay connected, and we'll see you really soon. Bye.